The goal is if you can give people this like aha moment in the ad and actually provide them genuine value, they are far more likely to take action.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the eCommerce Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Curry, CEO of OMG Commerce. And today, have I got a treat for you. We're talking about YouTube, what's working now. And I have an absolute expert in the space, someone that I've known about for years and then known for quite some time as well. We were in the same mastermind together. Shout out to War Room. May that mastermind group rest in peace. And so we've seen each other's work, and it's been super fun. We have different areas of focus. OMG Commerce is kind of e-commerce focused. My guest today, Aleric, is focused on larger ticket items, lead gen, coaches and consultants. But I think the synergies of what we do, bringing those together, going to create some powerful insights and results for you. And so my guest today is the founder and CEO of Ad Outreach and KeywordSearch.com, none other than Aleric. Heck, Aleric, welcome to the show, man. And how's it going?
Awesome. It's going great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited. This is going to be great.
Dude, it's going to be a lot of fun. When you reached out recently, because you had some, we were talking about leads and stuff. And I was like, oh, why have I never had Aleric on the podcast? And so then we made it happen, and here we are. And so thanks for taking the time. I know you've got some really great insights. We're going to have fun kind of riffing on some YouTube thoughts. And so super excited to dive in. I want to know, though, because this is part of the story that I do not know. How did you become a YouTube expert? Why did you choose YouTube, and how did you end up here?
Yeah. And that's a great question. It actually is a really natural evolution. It's probably different than, a lot of other people that get into different, ads and that side of things. I actually started organically on YouTube 15 years ago with a YouTube channel.
Interesting.
Yeah. Back in 2009, I created a channel called App Find, and I was reviewing mobile apps, tech tutorials. And what really helped the channel take off was I was teaching people how to use their iPhone for the first time. So I've got, some of those, basically for every iPhone iteration. I think after the iPhone 4, I was doing a complete beginner's guide to the iPhone. And those videos,
super interesting.
Yeah, got millions of views. So millions of people watched them. Like one of the videos, I think the most popular one was the iPhone 7 complete beginner's guide. That's when a lot of people were getting an iPhone for the first time. It has over 8.6 million views. It's crazy. So
no way.
I started on the organic
still getting
side.
views to this day? Like, do you pay attention? So are people still watching an iPhone 7 video for whatever reason?
They are, believe it or not. And actually, it's a lot of other, countries outside of the United States. So it's actually really interesting to see. I got this used iPhone 7 and now how do I use it type of thing. Exactly. And so it's really interesting because the back catalog of all the videos that I made years and years ago on YouTube still get those views. And I saw recently the term iPhone tutorial. We rank for several of the placements on the first page, including and it also kind of depends on where you search and stuff, but generally it usually pops up first, second result, which is pretty interesting. So some of the videos that I created a long time ago are still doing well. And actually today I have I hired somebody out of this guy in San Francisco who I've known for a while in the tech kind of space, just to take over the channel, keep it going, and we're still putting out content every week. It's just not me anymore, but yeah, so keeping that alive.
It's so cool. It's one of the things that really differentiates YouTube from any other social platform is that good content, organic content gets better over time. And sometimes it can get more traffic over time. And it can last for years. It can last way beyond the point that you think this could ever be relevant. Your content may still live on. Even an iPhone 7 video in 2024, still getting some views because there's a pocket of the world that wants to learn that and wants to see that. Of course, we're focusing on ads. And I know you pivoted to ads as well, but understanding kind of the way people work within YouTube is super important. So then kind of how did you make that leap? So you saw the power of YouTube organic. How'd you make the leap to ads?
Yeah, so I had all of these different people that were wanting to sponsor the channel, these mobile app developers. This was also kind of the heyday of mobile apps. So think 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, like around that time frame. And I was in college at the time, and I had all these different like apps that were reaching out. And I was doing YouTube videos to promote some of these different apps. I would either put it into the existing videos or do dedicated videos. And I was turning it into more of a business. And then I got like a video editor, script writer, all that stuff. So I was turning the YouTube channel more of a business. And I remember one day, and normally I would just do these app videos. So let's say it's a dedicated video. People would watch it on the channel. It'd be great. And maybe they'd come back later and they'd do another promotion, or they'd work with other, influencers. Well, at one point, I had one like social media networking app that had hired me to do a video, or paid me to do a video. I post a video, they get a bunch of downloads. This is great. Can you post that same video again tomorrow? We want to, double the results. And I said, well, hey, it doesn't really work like that. You can't just post the same video to the same channel, the next week and double the results. That's not how, organic works. And they said, well, how can we get more people to see this video? And I said, well, what about YouTube ads? And I had kind of looked, I was aware of YouTube ads, but I hadn't really done it at that point. This was a kind of like 2014 going into 2015. I think that was in like the beginning of 2015. And basically like, well, what if we take this mobile app and or the video that I made, just the standard video on the channel, and just run that as an ad to get more people to see it? So I set it up. I just from scratch. I just went in, set it up, the first campaign, and then we ran that as an ad. They ended up getting thousands of downloads from that, and they loved it. They're like, this is great. So then they go and tell somebody else it was kind of a performance marketing company that hired me. So there were other, there was another developer that was working with them, which is a bigger company, which ended up, becoming like a unicorn company, which was pretty cool. But there was another app that they're like, all right, we're doing a big promotion. Now we've got a bigger budget. The second YouTube ad campaign I ever ran was like $1,000 a day budget for like this mobile app that ended up like totally like blitzing. But that's again, like now today we look at that, we're like, all right, there's obviously bigger clients that we have than that. But that was the second one. They're like, you did so well with this. Here, we trust you to do that. And then I just like learned in the just from doing it, what worked, what didn't work. And I think I realized I had a natural, affinity towards, media buying. I understood, how it worked. And I was, going in reading Google documentation. So it wasn't like I was doing completely blind, but I was just kind of diving in, and it was in the earlier days of all this. And so I, ran that promotion, and then that company, and I ran that for a while. And that company calls me up, and I was, again, like I said, I was in college at the time. They're like, they want me to drop out of college, fly out to Silicon Valley, like join their team. They're like, you can, run our ads, YouTube ads and all this stuff. And it was tempting, but I decided to turn it down. I'm like, I want to build this myself. I see the opportunity here. And so then I tapped my network. So by that time I had worked with hundreds of app developers and sponsored the channel, because at one point it was like the top like app review channel, on YouTube, with 500,000 subscribers, all that stuff. So essentially I had all these apps. And so I just reached out to them and said, hey, here's what I did with this company. I would love to do that with you as well. And I've since, like you mentioned, gone away from apps and into, and which actually I'll get to, into more the coaching, consulting, and high ticket space. But that's how I got my start, was doing those YouTube ads for apps. Then I discovered ClickFunnels in 2016. I was at HubSpot Inbound.
Shout out to Russell Brunson.
Exactly. Shout out to Russell Brunson. I was there. ClickFunnels had a booth. They were still early on. And I remember signing up for that. I'm like, this is awesome. Then I said, wait a second. I can go and promote things that are more than just a free app with in-app purchases, and so that brought me into a whole nother world. I joined my first mastermind also in 2016, and the natural evolution was this mastermind was really designed for kind of consultants, agencies, and coaches. And originally, I created a webinar for how mobile app developers could promote their app with YouTube ads, and it was designed to like get potential clients for me. But what did I run to the webinar? Well, obviously I knew YouTube ads. They were talking about Facebook ads in this like mastermind, but I was like, I'm just going to do YouTube ads. So I did YouTube ads to the webinar, and it worked really well. And what started happening is everybody else in the mastermind was like, wait a second, how are you getting these results? Because I quickly became one of the, I got some pretty good results. And I said, it's using YouTube ads instead of Facebook ads. And that's when they were all started asking, okay, what are you doing And
show me the way. Help me do this for my coaching and consulting business.
Exactly. That led me to really pivoting over to helping coaching and consulting businesses with YouTube ads. And actually for a long time, and we have clients that we run ads for as well. But like one of the big areas is we also train a lot of, coaching and consulting businesses in how to run YouTube ads, helping this like a hybrid process. So helping them set it up, but then, kind of handing over the keys. And then of course we've got clients that we'll run ads for as well. And we've also got some training programs and things, but really focused in that coaching consulting area. And it's something I love, just because it's a lot of people that are going out and they're creating some kind of impact on people's lives or businesses. And it's really rewarding to support those.
Super cool, man. I love that background story. And so we're going to dive into content in just a minute and the creative that works on YouTube, because the creative that works on YouTube is different than the creative that works on Meta or on TikTok or on other channels. And so what I love about your background, though, is that you really got to know the platform. Your goal wasn't to become an ads expert, right? That just kind of happened. But you were creating great content and people were consuming that. And it was one of the top, tech review sites and app or channels, and you were talking about apps and stuff, and it just took off. For me, my background is from a different perspective, but still kind of the background just led perfectly to YouTube. I did TV back in the day. So I did TV ads kind of pre-OMG. And so I really learned, what makes for a great TV spot and how to target and things like that. And what's interesting is that there are some similarities between TV ads and YouTube. I think YouTube is more like TV than certainly Meta or TikTok or other platforms are. And then I really knew SEO. I really knew search. I knew query-based traffic. And so you kind of bring those two together, and that is YouTube, or that certainly was YouTube back in the day. And so we were all e-commerce. And I still remember where I was. I was at a Google Marketing Live. I believe it was in New York City. So I guess I mostly remember where I was when they talked about video action campaigns, right? Where you can run YouTube, but bid to hit a CPA target, customer cost per acquisition target. And I was like, this is it, man. This is a new opportunity for us. We can crush this. It's like all my worlds colliding. And so then it just worked. And so super cool to hear that. Let's talk creative though a little bit, because I think this is where most people go wrong, right? I've heard Google say that 50 to 70% of your success on YouTube is driven by creative. I think that's true. I think that's true across all platforms. But how do you guys approach creative, and what's kind of your framework for creative that works on YouTube?
Yeah, so we really take kind of a 3-part framework of hook, educate, then call to action with the ads, especially since we're working with a lot of experts that have some type of value and expertise to share. The educate portion we found is really important, and it's essentially the key. So you talked about, kind of the similarities with television ads. I think that also, there's kind of a similarity here too with the expert-based, kind of ads to maybe those more infomercials or a short form one, not like a super long. But I remember, watching some of those types of things, growing up, and obviously seeing the evolution to ads, and essentially really hooking people and capturing their attention. And there's different ways to hook them, right? It could be identifying a problem that they have, showing that you're going to have a solution. It could be more of a pattern interrupt, something to capture their kind of attention. It could be the answer to a query that they're looking up, right? So it's like you kind of jump right in, and it's almost like that's the video that they were meant to find, which works really well. But basically, there's ways to hook people right at the beginning to capture their attention, get them to decide, okay, I want to watch this ad. And then from there, the educate section is really providing that value. I call them golden nuggets, because we do want to keep them, relatively short, but worth their weight in gold. So they're small, but really valuable. And so, you might give a few golden nuggets, a few key points that's going to help somebody. So again, we work with a lot of coaches and consultants. So they might, share a couple of, keys to losing weight or to selling on Amazon or things like that, right? Or, a few keys to going and changing their life or personal development, whatever happens to be. So they'll share a little bit of that. And the goal is, if you can give people this like aha moment in the ad and actually provide them genuine value, they are far more likely to take action, the end, which is the call to action, because we are sending people to a different kind of place. So whereas you're on the e-commerce side, usually going to be sending more to, and there's obviously different ways to do it, but more to have people purchase a product, what we're going to be doing is usually sending to some kind of training or lead magnet. And we found with YouTube, it's the best to actually send it to a video-based training because they're watching video on YouTube. So they'll go from video to another video, and they can go and opt in for that training and then kind of continue. And usually it would be going to book a call and then become a client, or the video or webinar might lead to a course or some kind of thing along those lines. But essentially, the hook, educate, call to action, providing real value inside of the ad. And I think that's really, really key. And I'll give kind of an example of one of these aha moments, which I think is really valuable. I don't always do this, but I think you'll appreciate this as somebody who, I know you've created been behind the creation of some pretty remarkable ads. One ad that worked really well for kind of a nutrition coach and fitness-based person is he had a kind of cup measure you can see through, so you can see filled with oil, right? So just imagine like this kind of measuring cup with oil in it. And he starts off the ad by saying, if a calorie is a calorie, why can't I just drink 2,000 calories of oil every day and stay fit, right? And then he said, okay, now that we've established a calorie is a calorie, why do you think that you could just eat 2,000 calories of pizza and be healthier than 2,000 calories of salad, right? Because everything that you know about calories is wrong. There's actually more. Let's talk a little bit about macros and then diving into that, right? And so basically, then there's education. So it gives this aha moment. It's a visual representation. It's saying, okay, this now makes sense. And if you watch that, and I know that was a big moment for me. I had my own, kind of weight loss journey when I kind of realized that there was more to it than I had thought. And it's like, how can you distill that into an ad, then teach a little bit, provide value? So you've changed their worldview. Now you provide value. Now you have a call to action at the end to get them to go and, sign up for the training where they're going to actually learn, so now you have the what and the why, but what's the how? How do I actually do this? Right. So it's like, okay, calorie is not a calorie. I need to figure out macros. I've learned something, but I don't know what to do, how to do it. And so that's what is behind the training that people opt into. So that's just an example.
Yeah, it's so good. And I want to talk about the middle piece. I want to really dive into the hook because I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. So we'll spend some time there in a minute. But the educate piece, right? This is where you want someone to feel like my life is better just from watching your ad. How weird is that? I feel like I got some value from this ad. In fact, I could probably take what you just said, a calorie is not a calorie. I can go quote that to my friends. I can use that at the next dinner party that I'm at, and I'll sound super smart, right? So there's a little bit of value there. I believe it was John Caples in the book Tested Advertising Methods, although I may have this wrong, where he talks about creating fascinations, right? These little elements of an ad where it's like, oh, I didn't know that. That's super cool, right? Super cool, related to your product or your service or your offering. And it just gets me intrigued. And it also delivers some value. So that's really cool. And we got a couple other layers that we add there for e-com, but yeah, similar approach where it's like, I want to teach you something you did not know about this because it's going to change your world and then you'll want to buy my product. And so I do want to talk about hook though for a minute because I think this is where a lot of people go wrong. I think this is where we want to contrast a little bit to our TV brethren and our TV friends and compadres. TV, historically, Madison Avenue type TV ads are great at hooking and getting people's attention, but often getting attention in the wrong way, right? Getting attention in no way that relates to the product itself, right? We've all seen TV ads. We're like, man, that was funny. A monkey jumped out of a trunk and this thing happened and that thing happened. And you're like, I don't have a clue who that ad was for, right? And so I think you've got to hook someone in a way that's totally relevant to your product. And so you can do things like pattern interrupt. You talked about that. My buddy Ryan McKenzie from True Earth Laundry Detergent Strips, they've got this ad that was wildly successful that started with, hey, what should you never mix with water? And then it's like witches and electronics and super silly stuff. And then it's like also laundry detergent. And you're like, what? Shouldn't mix laundry detergent with water. Goes on to explain it. So pattern interrupt can be really valuable. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just like a thought-provoking question, right? My buddies at William Painter, sunglasses, I kind of help them with media planning and stuff. But there was this great ad created by Raindrop where the spokesperson came out and he's like, your face is your moneymaker. So why would you cheapen it with cheap sunglasses or whatever? Why would you put cheap sunglasses on your moneymaker? And so, coming up though with a hook that fits your product so that when someone is leaning in and paying attention, it's related to your product or related to your service or related to the webinar you're about to send them to. And so any other insights you would have on hook? When is that done well? When is that done poorly? Be curious how you guys test hooks, just any insights there.
Yeah. So, and we'll usually on the hook side test several different hooks. I think that's really important. You got to see what is going to work, what's not going to work. And I think that, I think having some type of curiosity is really valuable. Also, a great hook pushes away people that aren't a good ideal client and pulls in your ideal clients. Now, in the past, that was even more important back when, we were talking about all the changes that we've both seen in the YouTube ad platform, but back when it used to be more of the, paying per the CPV, and like it was more, based around, the 30-second view is what you paid for. Then it was like, really like, okay, let's get you off this ad if you're not relevant. Now it's more of an algorithm, as we both know, like, in terms of, bidding based on the CPA. But, and so it's a little less on that side. However, it still is important to train the algorithm, right? So you want the wrong people to skip and the right people to watch the ad. And so one of the things that is also valuable is calling out who that ideal potential person is, or using language that they're going to resonate with. So for instance, one of our top hooks is actually around YouTube ads versus Facebook ads. So like YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Let's face it, Facebook ad costs are going through the roof. And even when you have great ads, they're almost impossible to scale. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube ads, just like the one you're watching right now, to scale your coaching consulting business to 7 or even 8 figures. And so
you've done that a few times.
I have done that a few times. I have done that.
I've seen that ad so many times, but it's so good. Yeah. And what's crazy is the way you structured that was fitting several years ago. Yep. It's just as appropriate today. And I'm assuming that video is still crushing for you. Oh yeah, it's still crushing. The original. And so we've done we filmed the video a few other times because the educate section has changed. But before some of the changes to the platform, we had that one video. That one video was an 8-figure ad. We did over $10 million revenue tracked from that one, like from one specific ad that we ran millions of views to. And since then, that is one interesting thing too. And then just as a side note here, Aleric, with Facebook, I do know some people that they have outliers with their Facebook ads as well, and one ad that will vastly outperform the rest. But it still seems like on Meta or other platforms, there is ad fatigue, and that ad fatigue can set in kind of quickly. What we continue to see with YouTube is if you find 1 or 2 or 3 ads that really hit, you may be able to run those for a year, sometimes for 2 years, right? Because the audiences on YouTube kind of turn over quickly. And so sometimes you get that winning horse and you can ride that thing for a long, long time. Exactly. And even when we decided to phase that ad out, it was still working. It's just the content in the middle of the ad was not relevant anymore, because we were talking about the old way of kind of doing YouTube ads, which is more, keyword and placement targeting. And it's kind of shifted over into audience targeting, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit shortly. But, basically, that ad just continued to perform really well. And then it's, okay, well, this is a good hook. Let's pair that with other, new educate section. But with clients that maybe are going into YouTube for the first time, they don't know what hook's going to work or not. What we like to do is create, 4, 5, 6 different hooks, and actually just kind of put those together. It doesn't mean you're filming that many videos. You want to kind of film the videos, segment them out. I'm sure you probably do something similar. Modular type content. Exactly. Yeah. Modular. Mix and match. Yep. So let's film half a dozen hooks. Let's film a couple educate sections. Maybe a couple call to actions. Maybe one goes to, a training, one goes to a webinar or a PDF or whatever. And then put those all together. Now we have 24 different videos in the time it takes to film just 2 or 3 videos. Yeah, I love that so much. And so awesome. So we got the hook, and we found that is the biggest lever to pull, the most important lever to pull. If you nail the hook, the rest becomes much easier. If you do not land the hook, then really none of the rest matters either. But let's talk about the educate piece. Some of the ways we look at this slightly differently, although I bet these components are also in your formula as well. We look at things like product demonstration, right? For e-com, I got to see the product in action. I want to see the sunglasses. I want to see, the yard tool that I'm using. I want to see the automotive accessory. Like, I want to see it. So that's important. I also want some social proof. I want to see, like, hey, are other people like me using this, enjoying it? Maybe there's some UGC, or maybe it's just reviews on Amazon or on the .com or whatever that really bring to life this product works. And then I want to overcome objections, right? Because we're all skeptical. We've all been burned by ads in the past. So what am I doing to overcome objections? And so we kind of blend that into the middle part that we call kind of the product demo. But what are a few of the pieces there in the educate portion of the video that really makes that effective?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's similarities there. It's a little bit different in this side of things. One is you actually want to start the educate section by providing a little bit of credibility, but you don't want to go too over the top in that. And this is especially with expert-based businesses, because you want to demonstrate before you teach people that you are somebody to pay attention to.
Why should I listen to this person?
Exactly. Why should I listen to you? Now, the mistake people make though is they say it right at the beginning, and that's not a good hook, right? Unless it's something completely ridiculous, like we're the coach behind this like famous like athlete, and that's going to be a hook in of itself. In general, what you want to do is you want to have a hook. Then you go into we call it like the why you. Okay, so why should they listen to you? And that's really going to kind of tout the expertise or credibility that you have. Sometimes that's more positioned around yourself and what you've done, or it could also be positioned around results that you've gotten clients, track record, whatever it happens to be. So you do that relatively quickly. Once you do that, then we like to do either one kind of bigger teaching or 3 golden nuggets. So it depends on, and actually we'll usually recommend split testing this. So like I said, there's 2 educate sections. So one is to teach on one particular topic, maybe to pull back that example. It could be on macros, or it could be on our alpha AI targeting strategy and how that's different. It could be, basically just one kind of general topic, or it could be 3, tips or recommendations. One of the biggest is like myths. So busting myths. So if people had a preconceived notion about something, how can you actually, tear that down, tear that apart, and potentially addressing problems or mistakes other people have made in the past. So maybe they've tried something, similar before, like you said, and here's why they shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, shouldn't do this. Instead, here's what they should do. So I think that when you're looking at the educate section, there's a few different ways to do it, but you want to provide credibility. Then you want to provide value. And what we talk about with our clients is to focus on the what and the why, not the how. How is way too long. It's also what's gate kept behind the opt-in.
That's what they're buying, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And ultimately, it's not even behind the opt-in. It's really, that's what they're buying at the end of the day. But we want to give them, it's like what and why. Why should they care? What is it? And then they're going to go and get more information, kind of more holistic picture by opting in. Then they go to a training, which we found what works really well. This is actually interesting is, so what we do is we call it a video conversion funnel. And it's like a cross between a VSL funnel and like a YouTube video that people might watch. So instead of kind of the classic VSLs that I'm sure both of us have seen, many people who are, listening or watching have seen, kind of the ones with the text on the screen. It's like a, white background, black text on the screen, maybe a couple images pop up, more slideshow. What we've found is going from YouTube to a training, it actually is good if it feels like a YouTube video. So a 15 to 20 minute long YouTube feeling video. So where you're talking to the camera, if there's slides, you're in the bottom corner, right? Maybe it's a demo. Maybe it's even just you kind of talking to the camera and things pop up on the screen as you're talking, right? Alongside, you have these little call outs or things. And so it feels like a YouTube video, but you follow the framework of a VSL, right? To take people, again, you're kind of re-engaging and rehooking them. You're demonstrating credibility. You're taking them through, you're teaching them something. You're then stacking, what they're going to get from, either an offer that you might be selling, or in a lot of cases, more booking a call, like a strategy call. Here's what you're going to get. And then, tying back to that. So kind of following that strategy, but doing it in a way that feels like a YouTube video. So it's like produced like a YouTube video. That's what we found.
I like that because, one of the things we look at a lot, and again, it's a little bit different with ecom, but you want someone to feel like they just clicked and they ended up in the right place, right? So I just saw this product demonstration. I saw some kind of offer. I saw some person demonstrating the product. Now when I click and land on the lander, it feels like what I just saw in the video. So you don't want someone to click and then are like, wait a minute, in the right place? Did I click the wrong thing? I got to get out of here, And I think it's a similar thing what you're talking about. I just consumed a YouTube video. I've already shown that I like YouTube. So now when I land on this page with some education or a deep dive into something, that feels like YouTube as well. So that landing page experience is super, super important. I want to talk briefly because I want to get into some audience targeting in just a minute, and I'm trying to be mindful of time here. I want to talk about the call to action just really quickly because I think this is a place where people fall short. If you don't ask someone to take a specific action, guess what? They will not take it, right? I think we assume too much. We think, well, I just showed this awesome product or I showed this awesome training, and so they'll just click and they'll go consume it, right? But really, we need to spell it out. Click here, get the free trial, order the sample pack, watch this video so you can see this product in action, sign up for a free whatever. And so anything you teach or help people, one thing we actually just did recently, we do quite a bit of YouTube for retail support. So, hey, this product available in Walmart near you, and it'll be the best price you can find, right? So what do you specifically want them to do? Do you want them to click and buy? You want them to go to Walmart? You want them to go to Target? What do you want them to do? So anything you teach on call to action?
Yeah. So what we teach on that side, and that's a really good point. Like, you need to tell people to be able to take action, and that is what's going to cause those conversions. And so we like to recommend saying the call to action 3 times at the end of the ad. Yeah. Now, sometimes it is time, sensitive, so it depends on where people are at and the length of the ad. But in general, like 3 times is really valuable because it's the repetition, right? And so, and I'll give you an example in a second. I don't have it quite as rehearsed as my hook, but I'll give you an example in a second. But what we say is, like, we want to restack the value that they just received. So now that you've seen just how powerful YouTube ads can be, now that you've seen why it's more than just counting calories, I want to invite you to click the link right here on the screen or below to go and register for our training. We're going to walk you through exactly how you can X, Y, and Z. So what are they going to get? So remind them we just gave them value, because people's attention spans are short. It's like, all right, we just gave you this value. We want to give you more value. And then you tell them exactly what to do. It's not just like, oh, sign up for my training. It's click the link right here on the screen or below the video. And that's going to get you access to our full training, where you're going to learn how you can X, Y, and Z so you can achieve the result that they want. When you go and sign up by using the link right here on the screen below the video, you're going to be able to get instant access. All you got to do is put in your name, email, phone number, and you're going to be able to get full access to our training, where we're going to show you how this works. And there's only so much we can cover in a quick video like this. That's why we have this training available. And that way you can bookmark it. You're going to be able to have that as your resource, right? So something like that, again, it's going to be different depending on the person, but basically it's another reason that they want to do it. They want to take action, reminding them that if they already got value here, they're going to get so much more. And then add a little bit of urgency. It's going to depend. If it's a webinar, that's an easier one, right? It's like, we're watching this, there's a webinar coming soon, etc. And then at the end, once we say kind of click the link again, we'll actually go into a screen. I'm actually very curious if you do something like this, because, and I will say it's been a little bit since we kind of like really more in-depth tested this. So now we just kind of do it. We just kind of rolled it out. But basically at one point we tested putting a picture on the screen of the opt-in page that we're sending people to and not doing it. And it actually increased the conversions, by it's small, but like, 1-2%, kind of on the overall, right? Not necessarily on the, but basically, like, it actually increases the conversions by just showing, okay, here's where you're going to go. You're going to get to a page that looks just like this. Just put in your name, email, phone number. You're going to get instant access to the full training. And at the end, we actually just show the page. And it's also kind of part of like a squeeze too, because yes, YouTube will give you a little bit of a countdown, but it's not always the exact same. Right. So you don't want your ad to abruptly end. People are entranced, and then the ad ends.
Give them time to go and click.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's interesting. We've seen a couple different things work for e-com. Sometimes you'll do outtakes, like this William Painter did this and a number of others. Like at the end, like they'll do outtakes and they'll be like, "Why don't you just click the link? Why don't you just go check it out?" I think what's valuable about what you're saying, where you show the actual page or you show the actual product, is again it creates that consistency of what I saw in the ad is exactly what I see on the landing page, and so now I know I'm in the right place. It's also kind of priming me to take that action. We don't generally do that where we show the actual page, because that may change over time.
Yeah.
But I like that approach, and it totally makes sense that would work. Well, cool. So let's talk audience targeting, because this is one of those areas where it's pretty unique to YouTube, the way you can target audiences here. I know on Meta, most of the advertisers I know and the agencies I know, they're doing more broad, open targeting, letting the algorithm do all the work. The YouTube algorithm is powerful, but we're still finding, for the most part, we want to give the algorithm a little bit of help, and we want to kind of lead the algorithm into the right path to eliminate waste and to get us rolling into results faster. I love the connection that Google owns YouTube, and Google's got tons of search behavioral data, and so why not tap into that? What are people searching for? And so building custom segments or custom audiences around that. But would love to understand, how do you guys generally think about audience targeting?
Yeah, and that's a really great question there, and that's what I love too about about Google and YouTube and Google owning YouTube is just there's so much data. And I think that's what people don't really think about as much when they think about running ads on YouTube. Is like, wait a second, Google has all the search data. They also have Google Chrome, so they know, basically the websites people are going to. Google Analytics installed on more than half of every website. They're tracking all of that, all that details. There's a reason Gmail is free, right? There's a lot of data they're getting. So there's so much data that Google is utilizing and pulling into, the overall platform. And so essentially, what we found is the best way to target is what we call alpha AI targeting. And so a lot of people, when we, look at what they're setting up, is they're kind of building using pre-built Google audiences, and those could be good. And I'm sure both of us have examples of campaigns that do really, really well with pre-built in market audiences, especially things like that. Google also has started pre-populating certain audiences too to make it a little bit easier for people that aren't building their own. However, what I found is getting more granular and building your own audiences is going to produce the best results. And so what we do is we recommend our clients really do some research. And I'll talk about my software, Keyword Search, that actually does a little bit of that for us, for our clients in just a second. But basically doing the research to figure out, okay, what are people interested in? There's a few different types. So there's custom, affinity, right? So it's what are people interested in? What's their general interest? And this is different than like Facebook and other platforms where you have to go through the pre-populated list. Like I said, yes, Google has that, but this is where you can put in interests that people already, that people have, and it could be a more granular interest, and Google's AI is going to find who those people are. Now, I know you, of course, know this, Brett, on your side, but just in terms of the listener, the person watching, just so you know, you can actually build your own audience. This is what they're interested in. But then we can go deeper, because we talked about how Google has all of the search data, both on Google and on YouTube. What you can do is target people with that custom intent based on what they're actually searching for on YouTube or Google. So if people are looking up how to lose weight, or how to run YouTube, how to use YouTube ads, or, best ad platform, or, whatever for these different examples. And there's so many examples here. You can target people that are actually searching for that exact thing, and then get in front of them with those ads. And we found that that's really powerful, especially people have Google search campaigns. They can kind of carry over some of their best keywords into these custom intent audiences. If people are running the old type of YouTube ads, which is more targeting direct keywords or maybe placements, they can turn those into custom intent targeting.
And it's just so valuable to capture that search data, because what non-brand search terms are converting with Google Shopping or Performance Max or search. And so build an audience of those people. So those people searching for those keywords on Google or on YouTube, now you can kind of bundle them into a segment, target them with YouTube ads. A couple little variations we like to use there. Well, and one other quick call out. So we got that custom intent audience. I believe that the amount of time is those are refreshed about every 14 days or thereabouts. I think that's another reason, Aleric, where sometimes you can find a winning ad and it just keeps working, right? Because that audience is always being refreshed and renewed there. On the e-com side, we like to use keywords like, especially if it's a larger ticket item where someone's maybe buying like an expensive pillow or mattress or something automotive or whatever, where it's like competitor X versus competitor Y as the keyword, or competitor X reviews, competitor X demonstration, where you can tell hey, if someone's typing in these keywords, they're in research mode. They're like trying to decide which product to buy. And so now we build an audience, and that usually works. On the affinity side, where you're, and this is totally unique, and I 100% agree with you, we rarely use the off-the-shelf audiences from Google. They can work, but I would rather give Google like, hey, here's my top 5 competitor URLs.
Yeah.
So Google build an audience, an affinity audience based on those signals. And those often work very well and can scale at least to a certain degree. So
yeah,
really
and that's exactly. The URLs is another area that we found on the affinity side that works really well. The intent based is still our kind of top performer there because it's what people are searching for. But the URL audience is performing better than kind of the standard affinity or like you said, like pre-built, or even just typing in just individual keywords. Going in and doing those URLs is really powerful because Google has a lot of this knowledge. I've had people ask me, how can that even work? Like, how do they know? Well, they know because people go to Google search and they click on a link and they go to the website. People don't just always type it in, or they're using Google Chrome, most popular, one of the most popular browsers. And then they're also Google Analytics is on half of every website. So they have all this data. It's just waiting for you to tap into it. So, and it's interesting. I was talking with, somebody else like in the space as well, another person at War Room, but Qasim as well. And one thing that he was telling,
Qasim. Shout out to Qasim.
Oh yeah, exactly. Shout out to Qasim. Yeah, Qasim's awesome, but they're getting rhymes that too. So look at that. But anyways, I was talking with him, and he thought, and I would agree with that. I'm curious your take. I think that like he was saying that he believes that Google just has so much more targeting capability. They're kind of like they're holding back because they realize like if they gave like access to the full thing, it would just be like almost ludicrous, your ability to leverage
and open up privacy issues, and they're really concerned about like mitigating lawsuits and stuff like that. So yeah, I would 100% agree. Yeah. Google knows everything about everyone, essentially. Yep. And so I do think they're holding back on targeting, probably somewhat to protect the user, more so to protect themselves, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, super interesting. Cool. Let's talk about your research tool then, is keywordsearch.com, correct? Yes. And yes. How does that work?
Yeah. So one of the things that I found is one of the biggest things that we were doing consistently, either for the clients we were running ads for or the clients we were training to run ads, we're teaching them how to do this, where, we were just constantly doing this research, figuring out, okay, what are the different keywords to either put in an affinity audience, or especially for custom intent, what are all the things people are searching for on YouTube and Google? What are all the different, keywords, and especially long tail keywords, what people are looking up? Also, what URLs could people be going to? URL audiences. Maybe they're typing in specific channel-based keywords. So we were doing a lot of this manual research. And even when we were leveraging other tools, it was still a manual process. We had spreadsheets, we had templates, all this stuff. We were going and putting them in the spreadsheet. So we were doing research. We were using a combination of like YouTube's autocomplete for the YouTube side, because that's a little less less out there. And then we were using some of these other, there's obviously a lot of the big kind of tools out there that get Google and some YouTube keywords and things like that. But again, it was still a process where we were having to take it from that, put it into a spreadsheet, then go and add it in and create custom audiences. This is a lot of time. Why not go and just build our own software? So I set out to do this 3 years ago, even before the AI side of things. It was earlier iteration, which I won't get into as much, was kind of finding these keywords on YouTube. What we did is we wanted to actually, set it up to get more YouTube specific data. So it's a little more complicated, but basically we're going in and there's certain data that we're actually scraping based on search results and like what people are potentially searching, in addition to leveraging the existing data based on Google based keywords, which, is more available through APIs that Google has. And we're combining that by looking at like, what are people searching for? What are they searching for on YouTube? What are they searching for on Google? What potential interests do they have? And what websites might they be going to? And what we have done is actually built an AI wrapper around it. So essentially what keyword search does is it allows you to go in and just type in your business, some details about it, put in the URL of your landing page, and it'll go and scan that. And it will go and give you all of the different affinity audiences to potentially target. So it'll give you like, all right, here's all the different things to set up. It'll give you all the different search terms and keywords for Google and YouTube categorized by topic, with the ability to go and expand each topic. So if I was to put, my business ad outreach in, it could go and grab a topic, YouTube ads, and it'll have some keywords like how to use YouTube ads tutorial. And if I wanted more, I would just click expand, and it'll go and find another dozen keywords. You just keep clicking that as much as you want. And then it'll go and have other areas, lead generation, how to get more leads for my coaching business, or et cetera, et cetera. Want more? Go and expand that. And it'll actually have a bunch of these different categories. These categories could potentially become a custom intent audience, or you can just choose which keywords you want. You select which ones you want. It'll get all of the different affinities, and you can just choose, okay, which affinities, which keywords do you want? And in one click, sync it to Google Ads. And it'll actually build the audience for you inside of Google Ads through the connection, with Google Ads that we have in the software. And so it's an ability to go and instead of take all this research, which could take hours, especially if you're doing more robust research, we found the average time it takes to go from performing this search in the AI to actually syncing an audience is 2.6 minutes, which is pretty exciting. So essentially, we put it all into the software keyword search, it's AI ad targeting for YouTube and Google Ads, and now it's starting to do more features as well. We're adding some more features around different targeting and also agency features as well.
Super cool, man. Excited to check it out. Sounds really smart. Sounds efficient, and also probably going to kind of guide someone through the process, especially if you've never built these types of audiences before. It's different than what you do on Meta or on TikTok or anything else. And so this tool is going to guide you through that. So Aleric, love what you do, buddy. Keep up the good work. As people are listening and thinking, okay, I need some Aleric's training, or I need to check out this tool, how can people connect with you and your team?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So the tool is keywordsearch.com. There's also a free trial to go and check that out over there. And then I also have a gift for, anybody who's listening. I've got our 19-page YouTube ads strategy PDF. This is more focused on coaching consulting businesses, but you can go to adoutreach.com/gift. That's ADOUTREACH.com/gift. And you can go and get that free gift. And then if you are interested in talking with us about whether it be YouTube ads or something like that, you can just go to adoutreach.com. And there's some details on the page and links to all the social. You can look me up everywhere, of course, on YouTube as well. It's Aleric Heck.
Love it, man. And so we've kind of, just so listeners kind of get the inside scoop, we've kind of created this little arrangement where, like, as lead gen or coaches and consultants come to OMG or come to me, I'm like, you need to talk to Aleric, right? Like, go talk to him. He's the pro. His team knows what to do. Same on your side. Like, as e-commerce companies come to you, you're like, hey, go talk to Brad and OMG. And so it's a really good relationship that way. And man, I love what you guys are doing, because every time someone sees that ad with Aleric on there in his Austin office talking about YouTube beating Facebook every time, it maybe nudges someone a little bit closer to saying, I should test YouTube. I should test YouTube ads. So keep up the good work. Always fun to riff with another YouTube expert. So ton of fun, man. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brett. Really appreciate it as well.
Awesome. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show. If you know someone who would benefit from this show, please share it. Please review it. Please rate it. Helps other people find the podcast. And with that, until next time, thank you for listening.